Thank you so much for being here. I got such a positive response to my For Sale by Owner cold call script video, I will include a link to it at the end of this one, that I decided to create an objection handler video just for Sale by Owners. Let's get started. This is always your goal. It is keep the conversation going. The greater your talk time, the greater your chance of developing a friendly rapport with the seller, the more likely it is you're going to schedule an in-person appointment with the seller. So you got to keep them on the phone. Sometimes a conversation might veer far away from selling a house. You could catch them when they're in the store, maybe shopping for a pair of shoes, and you might find yourself talking about your latest purchase of shoes. Whatever it is, keep the seller on the phone. Keep them engaged. We want to build that rapport because that will get us to an appointment. There's going to be some overlap on these slides because conversations vary. They come in and out of objections as you're speaking with people. These are just some general guidelines, but everything that I'm sharing with you should be very helpful. The number one objection that I get, no agents, bring me a buyer. People love to say, bring me a buyer. So how do I handle that? I will just say, you know what? Is the reason you're not using an agent because you don't want to pay commission? Well, I totally understand. I don't want to pay commission either. I'm going to get a little bit more into the commission objection in number 8. So just kind of put a note off to the side, but address it head on. Is this where you're at in your thinking? I agree with you. Always stay in agreement with the seller. Then you can follow that up with, okay, well, we'll give it your best go. I really hope that you can sell the home. If in 2 to 3 months you're getting limited traffic and no offers that make sense, would you at least consider speaking with an agent? Not signing, just speaking and hearing what I do to help my sellers sell their homes. And then you can just say, I'd love to be your backup plan. With your permission, of course, I can send you some information about how I help my sellers. Try to see if you could at least get that email address. We all know how important that is. So you can be a backup plan in case they can't sell the home on their own. If you're like me, you want people to be honest with you, right? So you've got to be honest with these people as well. Let's be truthful here. Don't tell them you have a buyer if you don't. And just say, hey, I'm being honest, I don't have a buyer. That being said, I am very good at creating marketing campaigns that bring buyers. And not just one. I mean, if you get offers, you want to have multiple offers because that's going to get you the best offer, right? If you have more than one offer, you don't always get more than one, but we know how it works. You want massive exposure because that will increase the chances for getting multiple offers. And then just let them know that you speak with new people every week and could come across a buyer looking for your type of home. I mean, it could change any day. And then just say, I would like to view the home from a buyer's perspective because sometimes pictures don't tell the whole story. Is there any chance I can come by for a property preview? Takes about 10 minutes or so. I'll do a quick tour and then I'll have an imprint in my mind of what your home really looks like in person. Try to work that angle as well. Objection number 2. We've decided not to sell. That's weird. You can see that their home is listed for sale here on Zillow, but they're telling you that they've decided not to sell. Well, you can say, oh, okay. Have your plans changed? Are you thinking about renting instead? I service rentals too. If you don't mind my asking, if you had gotten the price you were looking for, would you have actually sold the home? We're trying to pry, see what's actually going on behind the scenes. Maybe they just don't want to talk to us and that's why they're saying they don't want to sell anymore. We don't know, but we do see that the home is still active on Zillow. So let's gently try to get in there and see what's happening. If you had sold, where were you planning on moving to? Is it because you want to take a break? Be suggestive and inquisitive with your questions, gently. See if they're going to give you a little bit of information. Would it be okay if I sent you quarterly market updates so you can stay on top of the market while you're taking a break? I promise not to flood your inbox as I myself don't like to be bombarded with emails when I give out my email address. I'll only give you information relative to what's happening on the market. If they're really shut down and they're saying they don't want to sell, but they don't pull back the curtain to let you know what's really going on, try to at the very least, stay in touch with them by getting that email address and staying in their inbox by sending them periodic market updates. Objection number 3, the market is bad right now. Now the market could be kind of slow, or it just could be the seller's perception that the market is bad or slow because they're not getting a lot of traffic. And we could attribute that to maybe poor photos, poor marketing, things like that. So when they say the market is bad right now, you can, of course, stay in agreement. I understand your viewpoint. It is true sometimes it's better to wait a market out than to sell at the current moment. However, Some people actually need to sell regardless of market conditions. So it's our job during the call to try to find out what their need is for selling, to see if it's an urgent need or if they can truly wait it out, if the market is truly slow like they're saying. And then what you can do is you can offer to review recent sold comparables with them. Because a lot of times people will say the market is bad. We're hearing information on the news that's saying the market is bad, but that might not be applicable to their certain part of the market. If you let me show you some recent sold comparables, you'll be making an informed decision based on sales in your area and not just general market conditions. And this will give you an accurate snapshot as it relates to your circumstances. Regardless of season and markets, properties trade all year long. That is true, and you can reiterate that to the seller. Some seasons are busier than others, of course, but in actuality, properties are selling all year long, just maybe not the same number throughout the year. And then again, I'm happy to show you some information so you can decide next steps with the property. Totally your decision, zero obligation. Always be very low pressure with the seller. Number 4, I'm in no rush. I don't have to sell. No, you stay in agreement with them and say, great, okay, you don't have to sell. Good for you. You're operating from a position of power, which is where you want to be operating from when you are selling a home. So good for you. Stay in agreement. If you don't have to sell, may I ask why you've decided to list? Would it be helpful if I provided a snapshot of recent market activity in your neighborhood? You'll notice a recurring sentence that I use is, can I show you information about the market? Because we're trying to show our value. We're trying to be a resource to people. And the way to do that is to kind of show them what's going on, to look at the sales, look at the comparables, look at the trends happening. They don't have access to the same kind of data we do. They're just pulling some general information maybe from neighbors or just some things they're seeing online, but obviously they don't have our real estate tools. Show them your value by giving them this information that could be helpful to them. And always reiterating zero obligation. I enjoy keeping people up to date on market activity. I really love my job, as corny as that sounds. You can say something kind of playful like that. I'm always available to answer your questions or address concerns that come up. Even if you never hire me, I would love to be a resource for you. So this particular objection, this particular seller is somebody that I like to characterize as having low motivation. They're low-mo. I'm in no rush. I don't have to sell. So they're tricky to deal with because you don't want to spend all kinds of time pursuing them because it could be a waste of time, but you do want to stay in touch with them. So try to get that email address, try to send them periodic market updates, and try to, most importantly, uncover the reason why they have listed the home for sale. May I ask why you decided to list? Objection number 5. We have some we're going to use if we do decide to list with an agent. Excellent. I totally understand wanting to use a friend or family member. Is that who you're thinking about using? Okay, are they a full-time agent? The reason I ask is that there are a lot of part-time real estate agents due to the flexible nature of the profession. So I was just curious if they do this full-time. What you're trying to do here, kind of in a sneaky fashion, is if they are part-time, or maybe if they are a new agent, you're trying to insert a little bit of doubt in their selection as far as going with this person. You want to counter that or foil this inexperienced part-time agent with you being full-time and very experienced. So kind of getting a little, planting some seeds of doubt in their mind if they did select somebody who might not be up to the job of selling their home. I just want you to know that this is my full-time job. I work 7 days a week helping people buy and sell real estate. I am a resident expert of such and such neighborhood and really take pride in staying in the know. So in turn, my clients have every competitive advantage when they go to buy or sell real estate. Okay. Having been in this business for a long time, I've seen a lot of agents come and go, which we all know is true. Would it be a crazy idea if we stayed in touch and I could be a backup plan should something not work out with this other agent? I love that little entryway. Would it be a crazy idea? And they might say, yes, it's going to be crazy. See you later. But they might say, oh, well, I guess it's not really crazy because if this agent doesn't work out, I'd love to have a backup plan. Objection number 6. I've sold homes before. I know what I'm doing. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I totally understand. When did you last sell? The reason you want to probe in this area as to when they last sold was they may have sold during a very popular seller's market when it was relatively easy to sell a home and homes were going for over asking price. But in the current market, it might be a buyer's market and things are a little bit more difficult now. So just see if you might be able to humble them a little bit and find out when they actually did last sell and if they might need some assistance this time around. I understand you want to sell on your own, and I respect that, but are you going to have time to do showings, open houses, meet with inspectors, handle issues that come up with the buyer, etc.? Some people think it's easy to sell a house. You put a sign in the front yard, do a few showings, and then you get the right offer and you're on your way to the closing table. But we all know that it's not that easy. There's a lot of obstacles that can come up from signing a contract to closing, and they could potentially derail a deal. And an inexperienced seller is not going to be aware of that, especially if they had luck maybe 1 or 2 times in the past. So just make sure that they really know what they're getting into by bringing up these topics. Listen, I think there's a good chance you can sell without an agent, and I truly hope you do, as I know that's your goal. Stay in agreement and encourage them. Very important to do when speaking to people. And then, are you accepting information from agents at least as a backup plan? Get that email address, show your value, send information about you, what you've accomplished, how you work with sellers, just a little sneak peek into your marketing. You don't want to show them everything, just a little bit to get them thinking that, you know what, if things don't go according to plan, this person could be a good plan B. Objection number 7, one of my favorite. We're good. That's all they say. To that, you can say, oh, do you have a buyer? Probe a little bit. What's behind the we're good? You really wanting to say get lost, I don't want to talk to you? Let's find out. Oh, so you have a buyer? Just curious. Are you getting a good response so far? Try to probe if in fact they're still on the phone call. May I ask if you have a deadline in which you need to sell by? Pull back the layers. Find out where they are in the selling process. Again, my go-to phrase, would you like to receive quarterly market emails from me? Zero obligation, of course. In case things don't work out, I'd love to be a backup plan. I'd love to be a resource for you in any capacity. I know you don't need help, but I send the market data out to other homeowners and it's no bother to add you to my list. I'd love to be of service. Try to find out what's behind the we are good. A lot of times people are just closed off and there's no way you're going to get to them. There's no way you're going to get a conversation off the ground. And you just have to accept that. That's why you have to make a lot of phone calls because volume equals victory. If you get to the we are good, you can get past that, but sometimes it's difficult. People are just have a wall around them and they are determined to not let you come through it. And that's okay. Respect that. But always try to probe, always try to pry. That is the goal with all of these calls. Finally, objection number 8. I've saved the best for last, guys. We don't want to pay commission. I completely understand. My golden rule, stay in agreement, especially if you have tight margins between what you owe and what you paid for the home versus what you think the market's going to sell for. That's usually why people are really sticklers with commission, is they don't have a lot of margin. They want to make a profit on the home, so they've got to handle things on their own, or so they think. That being said, we do offer a flexible commission structure depending upon how much work we estimate will go into selling the home. So we're not always 6%. There can be some flexibility there. Can I come out and take a look at the home to see how much work I think is going to be needed in order to get the home sold? And you can try to get the in-person meeting that way. Are you familiar with the term net sheet? I love net sheets. A lot of people go into listing presentations and they don't bring one. I am going to plan on bringing one when I start doing my pitches. I think they're important. I'm a numbers person. The numbers don't lie, so you really want to see how things add up. And if you really are going to make a strong case for receiving commission, then you have to show them that it's going to be in their best interest to go with an agent. Basically, a net sheet outlines an estimate of what a seller may net on the sale of their home once all seller expenses are considered. I'm happy to prepare one for you so that you can determine whether working with an agent will cost you money versus save you money. Because I'm trying to save you money. I'm trying to help you net as much as you can with the sale of your home. If you don't have everything lined up to make sure that you're hitting the market properly with a well-presented home and a well-priced home, you could be working against yourself. So I'm here to help you. Let me show you how it's done. Let's take a look at those numbers. I would love to view the home in person, and then we can review the net sheet. Zero obligation conversation. Always low pressure, coming from a place of assistance with the seller. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you found the objection handlers to be helpful. As promised, here is a link to my for sale by owner cold call scripts. I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.